Section 1.3, Interval Notation, Algebra 2. Now, this might be new to some of you, so make sure you're sitting up straight in and you got your pencil, you got your paper, your notes, you're going through this, and you're paying attention the whole time because some of this might be new. In fact, the entire concept of interval notation may have been shown to you in Algebra 1 or maybe not. So make sure you're paying attention because there's some important concepts here. All right, let's get to it so I'm not wasting your time, right? All right, interval notation is another way to write groups of numbers, like ranges of numbers. Now, you learned in Algebra 1 about inequalities. So, for example, this first one could be written as x is between -8 and 2. And I want you to notice that I used the less than symbol because this was an open circle. Okay, and this was also an open circle on the other end. So we're saying x is wedged between. This is a between question. So this was a compound inequality. Now in the next one, x is under -2. That's that first part on the far left there. This part over here. X is less than -2. Or, this is an or problem because you can't be in both places at once. Or x is greater than 5. All right, so that's the second one. All right, now the third one, what do you notice is different there? What do you notice? Okay, it's a closed circle. Closed circle. Closed circle is we're going to use the greater than or equal to or less than or equal to symbols. So x is once again between, and this time it's 1 to 4. And you always put the smaller number on the far left, smaller number on the far left. All right, I'm going to move this up a little bit. On the fourth one here, we have x's between 3 and 7. And then on the last one, x is under 2 or x is greater than 6. Notice I didn't use the little, I didn't use the equal sign, the little bar under the alligator symbol because these are open circles. So the only one that had the closed circle was the third one right here, closed circles. So that's why this had the equal there and the equal part there. Okay, that was all review from Algebra 1. Now, taking a look at this next question, order and interval notation. Okay, graphing the number set. So here we have a compound inequality. So back in Algebra 1, you graph this. This is a between question. You see how x is wedged between -1 and 3? So I'm going to find -1 and I'm going to put an open circle and I'm putting it above just to keep it a little clearer about where I'm writing. Okay, from -1 all the way up to 3 and x is anywhere in between. I want you to remember that any graph is a visual representation of where all the winners are, where all the solutions are. So for example, if I plugged 0 in for x, it would be a winner. It's right in this range, right? It's between -1 and 3. So is 1. So is 2. These are all winners. So this entire range between there is where all the winners are. So our picture represents that. Okay, interval notation is another way to write or to describe where all the solutions are. Now, I think you would agree that all the solutions are between -1 and 3. So what we do is we put the smaller number first, we put a comma, and then we put the bigger number. So it's read left to right, okay, left to right. So -1 to 3. And because, now listen, are you listening? Because it's an open circle, we use a parenthesis for the first side. And you see that it's an open circle on the other side also. So we're going to put another parenthesis on the other side. Now I know that's really confusing. That looks like an ordered pair, doesn't it? Like it's a point on a graph, but it's not. This is interval notation. Because they were open circles, we use parentheses. Got it? Open circles, parentheses. We'll see what the closed circle does here in a second. Okay, that's interval notation. That's all it is. All right, so you do parenthesis, smallest number, comma, 3, in this case, and then a closing parenthesis. That's the same thing as saying x is between -1 and 3. So again, this might be new to everyone, so make sure you're paying attention. All right, so here we have an equal sign. So the graph looks a little different this time. I'm going to do the graph a little quicker this time. So we put a closed circle, because it has the equal part, at -6 and at -1/2. Here's -1/2. And I connect the two. Okay, so once again, it had the equal sign, so that's why I have closed circles. Okay, that's review. That's review. Now, this might not be a review. You ready? We write the smallest number here, and then the bigger number here. Now, this is not an open circle situation. This is a closed circle. So we're not going to use a parenthesis. Instead, we're going to use a bracket. Think of it like a very hard break. Okay, it includes -6 and it includes -1/2. That's interval notation. That's all there is to it here. If it's a closed circle, you use a bracket. If it's a closed circle, you use a bracket. See, I get that question a lot. If it's an open circle, what do you use? A parenthesis. Closed circle, bracket, open circle, parenthesis. Let's go to this next one. It's got one of each. So this answer is going to look really bizarre. So we have an open circle at 0 because there is no equal sign there. And then at 2.3, that's about right here, I'm going to put a closed circle because that one does have the equal sign part. You got me? You got me. Great. And this is a between question. So we write the smallest number first and then the bigger number. Now, next to the 0 is an open circle. Open circles are parentheses, right? Parentheses. Whereas closed circles are what? Brackets, brackets. Look at how bizarre that looks. That's called interval notation. It's almost like shorthand for this statement. It's just we don't have to write x in there. We just know that x are all the numbers greater than 0 and up to and including 2. That's what this statement tells me, and it will tell you that too once you get the hang of this. All right, this one's a little different, right? Each of these are a little different. We're just building some different skills here. X is greater than -2. So -2. Now, if x is bigger than -2, where is x? X must be up here, right? So that's why we draw the arrow that way. So there's the answer for the graph. Now, interval notation is gonna, again, -2 is our smaller number. So what's our bigger number? What the heck's way up here? You can just go higher and higher, right? So that's where we get to draw the fancy schmancy infinity symbol. All right, that's infinity. That represents the biggest number possible and then even more. How crazy is that? All right, so is this a bracket next to -2 or a parenthesis? Bracket or parenthesis? We have an open circle. Open circles are parentheses. And then next to infinity, since we can never really literally touch infinity, we can't put a very hard break there. So we always put a parenthesis next to infinity. So that's the graph. X is greater than -2, or the interval notation. The interval from above -2. All right, the next one. X is less than, oh, we got some reminders. X is less than 4.5. So here's 4.5. I'm going to do a closed circle because it includes the minus sign and draw my arrow to the left because this time X is small, right? X is not being eaten here. This is a less than symbol, which means X is smaller than 4.5. And after all, these graphs represent where is X? X is under 4.5. So we draw our arrow to the left. Now, interval notation, again, we're going to put a comma, and the smaller number goes first this time. So where's the smaller number? It's way the heck over here at -infinity. And then the other end of things, and by the way, that's called a bound. The other bound here is 4.5. Now, because it includes an equal sign, I'm going to use a bracket. And then we can't really touch negative infinity, so we put a parenthesis. All right, so you may want to rewatch this video because it's highly entertaining, first of all, but also because it's easy to forget how to do interval notation when you're just learning it. So this is really, it's not hard once you get the hang of it. You just got to practice it a little bit, which is why we do some work. Okay, so now we're going to sort of go the other way. I'm going to go a little quicker here. This is the interval. This is interval notation between -2 and 5. Between -2 and 5. You see there's parentheses there. So this is an open circle situation, by the way, from -2 to 5. And the way we write that is like this. See how easy that was? Okay, that's I'm writing a compound inequality. The next one. This time we're starting at -2 and we're going forever. So that sounds to me like x is greater than -2, but it can also be equal. Why? Because we see a bracket. Brackets tell us that it could be equal to -2. So x is greater than or equal to -2 would be the answer there. Okay, this time we're going from -infinity all the way up to 6. And it's an open circle because I see that parenthesis there. So the way we write that is x is smaller than 6. X is smaller than 6. Great. All right, let me change my pen color so you can actually see it here. So here are some different graphs with their inequalities already filled in for you, so that's really nice of me. We're going to write them in interval notation. So the first one, is that going to be brackets or parentheses? Brackets. And we write the smaller number first and then the bigger. That's all there is to it. All right, the next one's open circle. So we don't use brackets this time, we use parentheses. Smaller, bigger number. All right, the next one has a mixture. Smaller number, bigger number, but this one is a closed circle. So we use a bracket on that side and a parenthesis on the other. And then the last one, once again, 2 to 6 is our range here of numbers, 2 to 6. But we're not going to include 2, but we do include 6 because of the closed circle. All right, that's interval notation. So these are the infinity problems. Remember, you always write the smaller number first. So 3 is smaller than infinity. So we write 3 comma infinity on that one. This is going to be 3 comma infinity, but this time, since it's an open circle, we put a parenthesis there. The next one, x is smaller than or equal to 6. X is smaller than. So where are we starting? We are starting at -infinity. Always put the smaller number there. And then we go up to 6. I often see students write this, but that's not right because I didn't write the smaller number first. Okay, so please don't do that. Thank you. You guys are the best. This one is -infinity all the way up to 6 with a parenthesis. All right, interval notation, interval notation. We got one more thing to do, people. You ready? This is one of those, it's called a diverging graph where you've got two regions. It's an or problem. You're a winner if you're up here or you're down here. You're a winner. I think I might have done that backwards for you. Up here or down here for you. So you're a winner if you're up here or down here. You got it? How do we write that? Well, this is special. So this is actually new right here on the last slide. You ready? We write x is -infinity. We write with the smallest one first, all the way up to 3, including 3. And then we are going to union these together with a big U like that. It's called a union, sort of like a holy union of two people, you know, like getting married. You're unioning these regions together. And then x is also bigger than 6. So we'd put a parenthesis 6 comma, infinity. Doesn't that look so fancy? When your parents see you writing that stuff like that on your paper, they're going to be amazed that you know how to do this. And you do. It's not hard. All real numbers. How do we write all real numbers? Pick a number. Yep, that's one of them. Okay. How do we write all real numbers in interval notation? Well, we write the smallest number first, and then we put a comma, and then we put the biggest number second, and we wrap them around with parentheses because we can't really touch either side there. So that's all there is to it. That represents all real numbers. So you can either write the capital R, you can write all real numbers, or now you know you can also write negative infinity to infinity, the interval notation. All right, that's all we have in this section. Again, interval notation might be new to you, but hopefully this made some sense, and maybe because the video was so good, maybe you just go back and watch it again, and you will certainly know how to do it. All right, good luck on the assignment. Be sure to send me a Teams message or an email if you need any help. I'm here for you. I enjoy chatting with you. Okay, take care, guys.